Okay, so before I get into it, just a big shout out to I I don't want to butcher your name, but big shout out to Zied. I don't know. I'm not even going to try to even attempt that again. But apparently there's a review mode on the Legends DBZ space that allows you to see some of the characters that they are working on in the future, and I'm going to talk about that in a separate video. But we know for a fact that the new units that we are getting, you know, Final Form Frieza, the Gohan, we have Captain Ginyu as well, and I thought, why not go ahead and just see what some of these guys can do, particularly the sparking units, because that's going to be the main focus of, you know, everything for the most part when it comes to the new banner. Now, this hero Ginyu the hero Ginyu has body change. Huh. Interesting. Major. So what is the you know what? Let's start with my boy Ginyu. Okay. So what's the difference between a sparking one and this one? I mean, obviously stats and such, but the Ginyu does have sparking one requires more time to draw body change. Okay. The sparking Ginyu gives more health to the Ginyu force with his Z ability, whereas the hero one, higher critical. I think the health is going to be more important there, because the majority of the Ginyu Force members are heroes. Major explode damage, deals major explode damage and causes enemies to take 15% more strike damage, so that's instantly better, of course. And the fighting pose causes enemies to take 20% more blast damage, causes enemies to take 10% more blast damage. So yeah, overall, this Captain Ginyu, of course, the sparking one is better, especially when it comes down to the stats. But if you just want to try, yo, that could be a meta. I mean, just looking at the stats alone, they're pretty bad, right? But just put it this way. If you are running a crappy Captain Ginyu, which is a hero, by the way, and if you manage to pull off the body switch, your opponent is going to be left with a terrible unit. And he can't even use body switch himself, most likely. Yo, the amount of trolling that I'm going to try with this. And at the very least, this particular Ginyu, the sparking one, he has some relatively decent stats. And if I go over to this Reddit page at the bottom here, we have a character stat sheet that is based on, you know, the actual website itself. So the Ginyu has high health, which is of course a good thing. But despite having high health, he has relatively mixed stats when it comes to other areas. His strike and blast attack are pretty low. His strike defense and blast defense are also pretty damn low. His critical is actually high, and so is his key restore speed. But I would imagine the reason why his health and restore speed is that high is because they want you to use that body change. That is his main ability. So I'm curious to see what type of, like, just what you can do with it. The amount of trolling that you can do with the Captain Ginyu. Definitely looking forward to it, especially with the hero one, to be honest. Because if you compare the stats of the two, it's not even close for the most part. To be fair, there isn't that much of a difference. I mean, there is, of course, but power though. The health, 4,000 lower. His strike attack is terrible. His blast is not too low. His blast is actually higher than the hero, or the sparking, I should say. He restore speed, 500 lower than sparking Ginyu. I dare say there isn't that much between the two. I will say this art is pretty dope though. Definitely want to see what you can pull off with the Captain Ginyu. So the Ginyu is, for the most part, just going to be a unit that you use body change for. And of course, I do want to see how a full Ginyu Force squad operates. Do we have... That sucks. They should have made at least 1 or 2 members of the Ginyu Force Extreme types. That really does suck. I'm surprised that Raccoon isn't here, or Extreme, I should say. That is very interesting. Okay. Well, now we have the kid Gohan, who has, from what I can tell, a very high strike attack. His key restore speed is high as well. I think he's, like, just looking at the card, a very well-rounded unit. His blast attack is low, but if we move on to the Z ability, Mixed Blood Saiyan health increased. Okay, that's a step in the right direction. Major thrust damage, 20% to own strike damage. That's another step in the right direction, I want to say. And his extra, which is the green card, 20% to own strike and blast damage for 20 counts. Now, the one thing that actually isn't stated here, unfortunately, is his main abilities. So maybe they are still working on it. I would imagine that it's going to give him some sort of attack, and I don't want to say defensive because those cards rarely give any defensive increases, but I would imagine that hopefully he is going to get a massive increase to his strike attack, or maybe both. If he gets a major increase for his strike and blast attack, that is going to make him a very good unit, and he's going to be perfect for countering the Vegeta, just because he has a bit more synergy with the Saiyans. Pikkon, of course, does counter the Vegeta because of the type advantage, but he just doesn't have too much synergy with the units around him. So his blast attack is actually right at the bottom. Yeah, like I said before, strike attack is very high. He is third, which is great. Health is fairly average. Strike defense and his blast defense are very good. Key restore speed low, critical low. So like I said before, Gohan is a pretty well-rounded card. Like, he is very good in the majority of the areas that you want him to be good. His blast attack is pretty bad though, so the main focus is going to be those strike attacks. And because Vegeta's a unit that's going to pop up a ton, the Gohan's going to be great for that. And even Frieza, because of course Frieza is a yellow type as well. Ginyu is green, and of course the Gohan is yellow as well. Now, the biggest question is, how much synergy is Frieza going to have? First from Frieza, okay. You have the Vegeta as well. But Vegeta's ability is for Saiyans. Frieza. See, the thing about Frieza is that he is currently missing his Z ability. But I would imagine that it's going to be a Frieza Force type of ability. I mean, for the most part, he has the main ones that you are going to take a look at. Right now, he is missing his... what's he missing? He is missing his Z ability, and he is also missing the... what do they call it? The extra. So, with his main ability, very similar to the Goku, he pulls the ultimate card, which is Death Catastrophe, which I would imagine is the move where he's engulfed in the orb. And his special deals major explode damage, causes enemies to take 15% more strike damage for 15 timer counts. So, I would definitely imagine that his Z ability is going to be something along the lines of just the Frieza Force. Because if you take a look at the other Frieza units, I would imagine that for the oh, don't need that. Okay, so he doesn't even have it either. Oh, immobilizes enemy. That's going to be interesting to use. But the Frieza units right now don't have the ability. The new ones, that is. But if we take a look at that one. Interesting. I'm definitely leaning towards the Frieza. Either giving an increase to yellow types, or just members of the Frieza Force. And there are other possibilities, of course, but that's just the option that is most likely to be the case. And when it comes to the extra card, which is something that you're not going to see that, consistently anyway. When it pops up, of course, it's going to help you a ton, but because of the way that the game is played right now, it's not something that you're going to utilize to its fullest. But still, the ability is there regardless. He is most likely going to get a strike attack increase. Could potentially even be similar to the Vegeta. That gives himself 15%, but of course that would be for strike attack instead. I think the best units to compare him to the surprise of no one, is the Super Saiyan Goku. Because he gives himself 15% to damage inflicted. So it's either going to be the same, or it's going to be just for one particular move, so either strike or blast. Most likely strike, because if we take a look at this, his blast is actually not that bad. He is 4th when it comes to blast. His blast defense is low. His strike defense is as well. His critical is average. His key restore speed is average. His health is average. Damn. So, by the looks of it, the Frieza is going to be very similar to Vegeta, I want to say. And even if Super Saiyan Goku here, like the Goku, Vegeta, and the Final Form Frieza are essentially glass cannons. They can, you know, deal a ton of damage, but they just aren't quite there when it comes to defense. I think Broly, honestly, still, I don't know. It's going to be hard to surpass Broly for sure. I don't think the Frieza beats the Broly, to be honest. But ranking them though, I think, oh, don't do that. I think Gohan is honestly very good. Just taking a look at that, like he has, quickly go back down here. His health may not be the highest, right? But he has high strike. His blast is low. He has good defenses. His critical and key restore speed aren't the highest either, but I feel like he has very good abilities. He has a lot of synergy. And see, that's the thing. I doubt Frieza is going to have a lot of synergy with the units around him. And that's a big thing when it comes to this game. Captain Ginyu is... honestly, Captain Ginyu is just there to troll, right? That body change. But see, even the Ginyu in itself has the ability to completely change the way that the game is played. Because even the hero Ginyu, we spoke about this before, like earlier, he could make your team infinitely better. If your opponent is running Broly or just any top tier unit and you manage to pull off that body change, you're instantly in a position of power and they are stuck with a weak unit. So definitely want to see how hard it is to pull off the body change, because I tried self-destruct multiple times with the Chaosin. It's so damn hard to pull off because of the time that it takes to actually build up to it, and it has a certain amount of range, so hopefully that's not going to be the case for the body change. We're going to see what happens, of course, but I would imagine that they didn't make it too overpowered, but again, we still have to see how that is going to play out. But the thing about the body change is that you have one chance with it. If you use the main ability and you draw the card and then you switch to another character, you instantly use that lose that main ability, which basically leaves you with a relatively useless Ginyu, especially if you decide to go with the hero one. So that was pretty much it, I think. The upcoming set of units are pretty decent. I'm most looking forward to the Ginyu, but I think of course, for the Final Form Frieza, we still have a few things to see, but I'm no expert when it comes to this, but just from my own understanding and looking at other cards, looking at the other top tier units in the game, I feel like the Frieza is potentially gonna be at the top of the A tier, if not at the bottom of S. It's gonna be a tough call, but he's either gonna be an S or A. I don't know. Just from looking at this alone, of course they can change a few things, but I don't. Honestly, I think he, at the very least, he is gonna be top of A, but he could be bottom of S. We're gonna have to see. But I think Gohan could definitely put himself very high because of the synergy that he is going to have with other units. But again, like I said, we are going to have to see as they release more units. There's just going to be way more synergy, especially for the villains, hopefully. But in most games, especially when it's Dragon Ball, the villains aren't necessarily all that great. And I think this may... well, Broly is a villain, that's a lie. So, we are going to have, that's 6, 7, 8, 10 sparking units. Okay, that's interesting. well, I hope you enjoyed the video. Big shout out to this Reddit page that I forgot to link last time. But it's just a easy way to take a look at the sparking units and kind of how they rank when it comes to certain stats. I feel like the way that they approach these units is honestly very balanced, because even if you take a look at a unit like the Piccolo, he has the worst critical and key restore speed in the game, but he has high areas like health, strike, defense, and blast defense, and it puts a lot of emphasis on the type of units that they actually are. The Gohan is a melee type, the Captain Ginyu is a defense type, and the first form Frieza, no, wrong one. Where's final form Frieza? And the final form Frieza is a melee type as well. But I want to see how they actually perform, and of course, I want to see what the final cards are like. But I hope you enjoyed. Let me know who you are looking forward to the most. Personally, it's got to be that Ginyu, especially the hero one. Just so much trolling potential. But yeah, that was it. Leave a like, subscribe, all that good stuff if you are new, and I will see you all in the next one.